So if this video looks familiar, you're not having deja vu. I actually did a video not that long ago that I'll put in the top right corner of your screen that you can refer to how to replace a backlight in this Sharp model TV. Now, one of my viewers had asked if I could actually show the actual taking apart of this TV rather than starting from the middle of the repair, if you will, and then kind of working my way back. So today I thought I'd definitely answer that request because I do realize that it might have been confusing on how you actually take apart the TV to get to the backlight. So I'm going to show taking apart this TV today. I might go a little bit above and beyond to show you different things and how to take them apart, just so this video can be a little bit more helpful to you. Again, I'll link the backlight video here in the top right corner of your screen so you can check that out. I don't know if you want to consider this a part 1 to that video or maybe a part 2, but I'll try and link the two together so it can be helpful. I'll also put the model number of the Sharp model TV here on the screen so you can check out if yours matches, but honestly the steps are pretty synonymous across these LCD LED TVs. So without further ado, let's get started. Got my TV here on my workbench. And I would recommend putting a soft thing like a blanket or a moving blanket underneath so you don't scratch or crack the screen. First thing we'll do here is I'm going to remove the legs of the TV. You can actually see, and I'll show you here in a minute, that it tells you what leg goes on which side. So remove the 2 Phillips head screws. And I'm just going to put it down like this so the 2 screws stay in the same place. And as you can see here, even shows you the arrow to go to the front. And then we got an L right there for left. So, and an L right there. So, one leg off. Now we can work on the other side. Now we just want to remove all these screws that hold in the back plastic bezel to the actual chassis of the TV. And something that's really going to help facilitate this is a little holder, because as you can see, all these holes contain screws, so there's a lot to do. And in all reality, you could just, since these holes are pretty deep, you could just leave the screws in there. But sometimes it's, honestly, all these screws are the same depth anyway. And I assume it's the same thread count because I've interchanged them. So don't worry too much if you take them out and have to put them back in. And don't forget hidden screws like this one that are recessed here. And obviously, as you can see, these holes sometimes are really deep, and if you're planning to take the screws out, I would recommend magnetizing your screwdriver, which I have a video right here that I'll put in the top right corner that you can check out. And this should pull easily right up. All right, just to quickly identify some big parts here. Right here, we have the power supply control board. You can tell that because that's where the power supply connects to. So you can see our plug right here, attaches here. So that's the power supply control board. Over there, that is your main board. The way you can tell is that has all the places you can plug in the HDMI, your aux cable, all sorts of things. So that's the main board here. This board down here, this is the timing control board. So this is that sets the timing for all the graphics and whatnot. So that's the 3 things that you'd probably see on yours, or at least to help you identify 2 of those boards. So the first thing we'll want to do here is right here, you can see there's this 1 wire, or I guess these 2 wires that connect and go into this through this, the chassis of the TV. And I'm just going to do this for demonstration purposes. So you can see that's the 1 wire that actually goes from the back here of the TV to the front, or I guess through the TV. So this wire here, this is what powers the LEDs in the front of the screen. So cheaper models will only have one of these connections, which is why unfortunately they'll, if one set of LEDs goes out, or if this wire gets cooked, the TV's not gonna show anything. So let's remove that first. So all we have to do is push down on the back of the connector and then pull it out. And then we have that disconnected here. Next thing we'll want to do is remove the low voltage differential signal cable. This goes from the main board here. Let me move you. This goes from the main board here down to the timing control board. So that one's really easy to disconnect. You just push in these 2 wires, or these 2 connectors there on the side, 1 and 2, and then it should come right out. So then we got that out of there. Next thing we'll want to do is this part down here. This is our speaker. Yours might have 2 separate ones. This one just has 1 big speaker here at the bottom. So we'll want to remove the wire that goes to the speaker here, because we're going to take out the speakers. So remove that. And then we'll move it back here so you can see. So again, this is the entirety of the speaker here. So we'll want to take out this, I believe this is, yeah, this is the Wi-Fi module cable. So we'll remove this black cable from the speaker. This is just to keep it all clean in here. And then once that's disconnected, so we have the speaker going to the, speaker wire going to the main control board here, removed, and there's no screws holding this specific one in, so we can just literally pull up and out. So that is the speakers. As you can see, there's 1, there's 2. So now we can get that out of the way. And again, this is the Wi-Fi control module here, or excuse me, the Wi-Fi module. So you just follow this black cable here, and that's your Wi-Fi module there. So next thing we'll do is remove the actual mounts for the speaker, or excuse me, for the legs. So as you can see here, this is where your legs screw into. And there's just 2 Phillips head screws that need to be removed for that. And I'm just going to keep those 2 in there. And as you can also see, there's an L for left. So yeah, and also you can draw the outline if you forget where it goes. So now on the right side, we have this other cable that's interwoven in between it. This goes to the power button. So this one, I believe, just comes right out. Now, if not, we can worry about that in a moment. What we'll do is feed this wire through, and then we can remove the mount. Okay, now we're at the middle bottom of the TV where the speakers were. What we want to do is remove these ribbons that connect the driver board here on each side, so here and here, from the timing control board. So all you have to do is actually flick up this like that, and then the ribbon comes straight out. Same thing on the other side. Flick this gate down, lift the ribbon out, and we're good. Now we want to remove the conductive tape that is on here. So you can see here there's 1, 2. There's also 2 on the other side of each driver, or 1 on each side of the other end of the driver boards. So now we'll do that. Like that. You don't want to rip this tape. Very cool. Remove that power button. There we go. And remove the tape here. All right, now I want to remove the clips that are holding in the driver board here. So, just like that. One completely disconnected, excuse me. Now we'll work on the other one. Now here on the bottom, we disconnected the driver boards. You can see we're going to take off the plastic bezel that surrounds the TV next. There's some screws, usually just on the bottom. So we're going to remove all of these so that we can remove the bezel. All right, now with all 8 screws removed from the bottom of the bezel, you can see it's loose here on the bottom. What we can do now is remove the plastic bezel that surrounds the TV. Now this is not too bad. It just requires some patience because what you got to do is pry around the TV so you can get this off. And again, I have my blanket underneath here so I don't damage any of the components while it's upside down. Sawhorses might also be a better idea. But as you can see here, this is nice and loose. So honestly, what you can do is just wedge a small flathead screwdriver between the plastic bezel. Let me see if I can get a spot here. And then just kind of rock it up and back and forth until it comes up. So I've got one there. See? And you want to start closer to the bottom so that it loosens up. And, you know, slow and steady on this. It'll come up. So I just do it like this. I run it at a 45, like this, and then pull up with one hand as it's coming, and then rock my screwdriver back and forth almost like a fish tailing, and that seems to work. If it doesn't, if you get stuck in a spot, just keep your screwdriver there and you can put another one close to it, and that will keep it going for you. So as you can see, there's one side, 2 more to go. And just like that, the plastic is off. And if you're curious why that works, let me see if I can get this on camera here. On the inside of the bezel, there's these little plastic tabs. You can see right there and there that can bend in. Those click against the TV and the chassis of the TV, helping it stay on. So that's why that screwdriver method works. And honestly, if you're worried about scratching up the chassis of the TV, you can also just put a little electrical tape on the tip of your screwdriver and that works just fine. All right, so now that the bezel's off and that we've disconnected the driver boards from the timing control board, the screen is ready to come off. Now this is the part that makes or breaks your repair, meaning that if you break the screen, it's a lost, it's a done deal, because these screens are almost as much as the TV. So that's why a lot of times you'll see free TVs on Facebook Marketplace or other places, just because honestly it's almost a couple $100 to get a screen replaced. So you want to be really careful when you do this part. And I will strongly advise that you get suction cups. I'll put a picture right here that you can reference, so that instead of trying to lift the screen, because I promise you if there's any flex when you lift this up, it will crack and it'll be done for. You'll just put these 2 suction cups or 3 or however many you want to do on the TV and you can lift this up no problem. Without that, honestly, it's a major gamble. I would not recommend it, but literally it's just as simple as you can see, it's off. The screen is completely ready to go. It's just laying here in the chassis. So put your suction cups on, lift it off, make sure it's in a place that it won't bend. If you're gonna have it on a bed, make sure it's on something flat, so someone doesn't lay on it or squish it or something. So this is a very delicate part that you want to be very careful of when you remove it, okay? And another big tip here that I'll give you is make sure that when you rest wherever you're going to put the screen, that the ribbons here on the driver board don't get crinkled or cracked or anything, because if that happens, you've also ruined the screen. So just make sure that these are free, that you can tape them honestly to the screen if you're worried about them getting bent. Home stretch here. Now we want to remove these panels here. They just sit inside the screen. Actually, excuse me, before we do that, we actually have to remove this rubber channeling that goes around the TV. This holds the back paneling, the white screen and all that on. And these, also really simple. They have little tabs here that hook on to the chassis of the TV. So literally just pull up and they come right off. Those are gone. Now you can just find a corner, and honestly, you can just keep all these 3 sheets together. And the nice thing is, you can't really screw this part up when you take that off, because it's very, very strong and robust. Also, you'll notice here, let me grab one of these sheets, that on the very bottom it has these little holes, and on the bottom of the TV there's also these little studs here across the bottom of the TV. That's just so you'll know how to put back on the screen. All right, and then last but not least, this is the widescreen here, and then these are the LEDs under here. There's strips that run along here. So basically, how you get to those is you need to remove this screen. And if this repair has been done before on the TV, this is pretty easy to come off. Sometimes it can take a little bit of a coercion to get it off, but you'll just want to go some part of the screen where you can pry it up and then just lift. And actually, oops, before I get ahead of myself here, we need to remove these mounts here. These just slide to the left and come out. So there you go. You can see they have little feet on them. They just slide in and out of the chassis of the TV. So get those support little brackets out of there. Now we can remove this diffusion screen. Just slow and steady. The tape might start coming up with it, so you might need to hold it down in place. And honestly, you can always use different tape. It's not the end of the world. And voila, this is how you get to the backlights of the TV if you need to replace those. This tape, at least on my TV when I did the repair, was still sticky after my first removal. But honestly, if you can't get it to stick, as you can see, I just put some Scotch tape on here and that holds up just fine. So yeah, so you can do it like this if you'd like. So here we are on the other side. This is where the wiring all connects. So as you can see here, this is that wire here that I showed you at the beginning of the video that runs along here and connects to all 5 of these strips. When you go to replace the strips, all you got to do is pull on this plastic connector. Like I was saying here, when you're ready to remove these, you'll just remove the plastic wire back here and it comes off just like that. And then you can use a screwdriver or whatever pry tool you want to get underneath, and then there's just an adhesive sticky on the back. Pull it all off, put your new strip on, make sure it's in the same place as the old one, so that you can have an equal displacement of the lights. So if you want to trace these before you remove them, that's great. Honestly, there's usually some residue left over that you can use as a reference. And then once you get that back, the new strip on, connect it and follow video 1 or video 2, whatever way you want to look at it, which again, I'll put in the card to the right. And I hope the video is helpful. Any questions or comments, please let me know. I do like to hear your suggestions if there's videos that would be helpful, or if I can help clarify or visualize things better in my videos. So always appreciate your feedback. I always appreciate your views. A like and a subscribe are also very much so appreciated. And I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. So this is how to remove these LED strips. Now, honestly, you can just pry underneath this and then rip it off if you're not saving these. You could just get it from here and then rip it off. However, since these are still good and I want to show you how to take apart everything on this TV, I'm going to show you this method I developed. And I know this is not perfect and that there's, you can scratch up the chassis, you might even hurt the strips, but if you're careful and slow, this method will work. So you can just take a razor knife, run it underneath, and again, not perfect, but does work. You can get 2 flathead screwdrivers here and just push the blade along. And I'm just using the chassis here as leverage so I can push this through. as not to bend this. And as you can see, making pretty good progress. So anyway, thought I'd show you that just in case you want to try that hack to take off the strips. And then just so they don't stick back down, you can either throw a piece of tape under there or throw one of your screwdrivers. So since we're already here, let's just keep taking some stuff apart. That way, in case you need to replace it, you'll know how to. So here we have the main control board here. So if you need to replace this, we'll need to first disconnect all the wiring that goes to it. So first wire we'll disconnect here. This one runs from the power supply control board to here. So we just remove that. We have this wire down here, which you'll remember is our Wi-Fi module. That one will come right out. This one that goes to our power supply, or excuse me, our power button. So now there's only one thing running to it. So remember, it's a gated one, so you just lift up that gate. It slides right out. That connects, this is the ribbon that connects to the timing control board. And now we just have 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess it looks like there should have been 5, but 5 screws we need to undo. And just like that, main control panel removed. All right, now we're here at the timing control board. So this one, I'll show you how to remove here. Let me get my screwdriver. So we've already removed this ribbon, which connects to the main control board here. But again, if you needed to repair that, you could just remove it like such. And then here, again, we have 2 gated ones. So you lift, pop up on that. And there's one ribbon. Pop up on the next. And second ribbon. Now there's just 4 Phillips head screws that we can remove. Just like that, there's your timing control board out of the way. Last but not least, the power supply board here. Now we'll remove this Wi-Fi module. So we'll remove this connector here that goes to the main board. So just push down and pull out. And then we can unscrew. And to our left here, you can see we also need to remove this. So I'll just take a razor blade here, run it. And now removed the Wi-Fi module. To remove this housing, you can see that there's a little tab in there. Push that tab in, pull towards you, or pull toward your hand, and this rocks out. So again, that will go in like that. And then click in. And now we have stripped the entire back of this TV. Now because these tabs that hold in the driver board, very easy to break, I'll show you how to replace them too. So if you go inside here, inside the chassis, You just push in these two tabs, that'll pop it right out. That way you can replace them in case they break. And last, let's take care of these 4 mounts that go through the back of the TV so they can be mounted to a wall. These, just as you can see, slide in like that and fold down. So one last time, here's the finalized thing. We've completely stripped this TV. Again, always welcome to have questions or comments. I appreciate you watching, and catch you in the next one.